saying, for example, you said on one occasion you'd be concerned about having your daughter go to a birthday party if she was invited by somebody called like Charmaine.
Yeah.
Would you stick with
So,
that?
100%. Oh, and the thing about that is, so that is still and will remain, even though it's been deleted from history, the most watched clip of all time on that show.
Hello, everybody. We are back with the inimitable Katie Hopkins. As you know, I love Katie Hopkins. She says it like it is. She tells the truth. She's fearless. She has suffered for her views, which represent our views, if you're watching this channel, if you're anything like me. So I have the utmost respect for her. And she's being interviewed here by some guy, no idea who. And she's talking about an incident where she implied that she wanted the best, where she said outright she wanted the best for her children. She doesn't want her children, she said this several years ago on some TV show, she didn't want her children hanging out with kind of the British equivalent of poor white trash. So let's get into this interview with Katie Hopkins, and I'll jump in from time to time to give my commentary. Here we go.
Oh, that's
Well,
approved
it's the level of cancellation.
Yes.
So there's a degree to which, so with yourself, for example, when you used to write for the Daily Mail,
Yes.
or Mail Online, sorry, and I would read it every time, and then you went slightly too
far.
slightly.
Too far.
Just slightly.
Yeah, too far,
Now, frankly,
too real.
it strikes me that the sub-editor should have noticed that and said, "No, Katie, we're not running this."
Yeah, whereas the subbies are going, this is great, this is great. And they'll message you maybe in the day, say, great column, great file. You know, so it goes, as you will know, through desk after desk. It has to go to 3 or 4 desks before it hits the paper or the page or wherever. So those guys run for cover and you're disposed of. So I always said, you know, this idea that your employers will love you for as long as they love you when the noise suits them. But when the noise is too much in the other direction, you are immediately, it's just like throwing out the trash. And that's obviously a weird thing to get used to as well. That's a weird notion.
Well, the other thing, of course, we were talking a minute ago about the idea that you have to put on this persona and so forth. But then there is a degree to which I am told that the viewer will like elements of us even talking about this, because there is almost this parasocial friendship. They want to get beneath the veneer. They want to feel that they know something intimate that is beyond the persona, which they know is a persona. But on the other hand, they love the persona and they want to see the persona. So it's this odd contradiction in the relationship. Which they seem to have.
And I think that's where, I guess for me, over this long time, now I'm in a really comfy place where I literally, and I think it's an age thing as well, you know, I lay it all out all the time in things that young people just recoil at because it's so embarrassing. I imagine admitting that. But now you reach a point where it is fine. So I've reached a lucky place where the sort of me and persona is the same, but people have gone from, not everybody, and I'm not aiming for that at all, but people have gone from hating me with a passion to going, actually, she's a pretty funny girl and we need her right now. So it's been, for me, it's been a kind of a 180. It's a weird thing to suddenly be liked, not hated.
But you're on the telly less.
Not at all. I can't be on anything. I'm banned from everywhere still. Murdoch. Anything to do with Murdoch. No.
Since the yes. So you think that this is the change, that you can be more yourself because you haven't got to be this outrageous sort of, you know.
I'm just I was always that girl. I never said anything I didn't mean, didn't buy into. I've never had an opinion or expressed a view that I don't believe in. So it's been consistent, but what you're talking about is the emphatic presentation of some of those things.
Well, saying, for example, you said on one occasion you'd be concerned about having your daughter go to a birthday party if she was invited by somebody called like Charmaine.
Yeah.
Would you stick with
that?
that?
100%. Oh, and the thing about that is, so that is still and will remain, even though it's been deleted from history, the most watched clip of all time on that show. I mean, the show is now imploded because, well, paedophiles never last long in TV land. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, they do.
They last a long time. Yes.
But there is, longer and will return, funnily enough, with the redemption of the male, which is another thing we can discuss. But certainly the reason that goes on and lives on, it still lives on now, is because it sat in hard, honest truth of people. We know there are certain kids you don't want your kids anywhere near.
Absolutely right. I mean, it's utter truth, and people are just so, for decades now, have just been tiptoeing around the obvious truth. Some people say it, and so we'll say something like that, and their friends will go, "Oh my God, why are you saying that? That's awful." But the fact is, we know it's like in America where they say, "Oh, we moved because we want our kids to go to a good school." We know what that means. There's code. That's a simple code for. I bet you can guess in the comments. Let me know what it means. But what she's saying here is, yeah, she doesn't want her kids hanging around with, her daughter hanging around with somebody from her daughter's class called Charmaine. That's obviously considered a poor white trash name in England. They don't call them poor white trash. When I was married to an English woman, a little personal aside here, I was married to an English woman for 16 years. We were together for like 18 years. So we lived in England for a while. Many years ago, in the late 80s. And back then it was Kevin Trace. Kevin and Tracy. Kevin Trace were the common names. So yeah, common. That's what my ex-wife referred to lower class people as. They're common, well common. And yeah, I mean, it's just the way of the world. People do discriminate. That's what people do. Thank God. Of course, people discriminate. They have a sense of discrimination. They want the best for their children. They want the best for themselves. They discriminate.
And that's all it was. It was just a human truth that we try and protect our kids from some people's kids that we think, oh God, that woman and her kids. Everyone thinks it, no one can say it. And that's why you can't, if you just talk crap, you're a mad woman shouting at the moon, right? If it's not embedded in human nature, the stuff I was doing then.
It is. There is certainly names have become more diverse, and there's studies on this, and they have as we've become a less group-oriented society. If you're more group-oriented, which is associated with being more middle class, I'm afraid, then you will probably name the child after family members, or use traditional names, or use names that are popular.
Yes.
And if you're more of an individualist, which is higher in psychopathic traits, which is I'm afraid associated with the working class, it's just true, then you will go for a name that's unique. Unique.
Chardonnay,
tiger.
Oh, look at these guys. See, they're making fun of that accent, just like my ex-wife used to. Pretty funny.
Sky, that was the most extreme I came across.
Destiny, I always liked. When the mother was like, Destiny, yeah. You're like, I think we know where her future is.
I think her destiny is written in the
writ large in the stars.
In the stars, yes. Tiger.
Same with Belle, right? The ugliest baby you ever saw in your whole life, and the mother named it Belle. And you were like, did you not want to wait and see first?
Princess. Crystal.
And this is all it was. It was a human truth. I did the school runs. I tried to avoid them at all costs. I find other school mothers to be horrific. Mumsnet's just having a bad time on Twitter. But I find other mothers to be horrific at all times. But there would always be the biting kid. There would always be the kid that smelt slightly of wee. And there was always the fat kid from the fat mum with a football shirt. It's just a universal truth. Yeah.
Yes, even in Finland where I live, it's noticeable. They match fat mother, fat kid.
They're not fat people there in Finland, are they? They're not many.
Not compared
Finnish
to here.
people don't do fat.
Not compared to here.
No.
They're always behind. They're always about 20 or 30 years behind what we do in terms of multiculturalism, in terms of degeneracy. I mean, I didn't lock my front door. I mean, it's safe.
That's so gorgeous.
Oulu.
Mind you live in for people that don't know.
Well, you were in the centre when you were there, right? And so a 20-minute walk from there in a sort of 1950s wooden house.
So if we could just explain to people, though, that don't know Oulu, give them a sense of where it is geographically, just so we're
northern
clear.
Finland, 65 degrees north, northern Finland, opposite Sweden.
Go up a bit more. Go colder.
Colder. You're there.
See it, dark.
All right. Apparently this guy lives in Finland. Yeah, what a pair. This is a fun conversation. But Katie, as usual, spitting truths, not scared to say it. So many people are just scared to say that stuff these days. It's getting old. Just be real. People just need to be real. Yes, of course I don't want my kids to go to school in the ghetto. Yes, I don't want my kids hanging out with undesirable, or it's not that the kids are so bad, but humans are pattern recognition machines. Our brain is a pattern recognition machine. We recognize the patterns. Yes, not every person of a certain minority group is a criminal or smelly or whatever. But taken as a whole, we're talking pattern recognition. We extrapolate from groups. We're talking about groups here. Yes, we notice certain behaviors and certain cultural norms of certain groups. That's just the way it is. And thank God we've evolved to be like that, and rightly so. So this is just one more aspect, one more example of a type of pattern recognition. And it's funny this guy mentions that he lives in Finland, because apparently, yes, Finland is probably 20 years behind the UK in terms of succumbing to multiculturalism and degeneracy and all that, but it is coming. I read plenty of interesting websites on the internet, and the Finns say, yes, it's happening there too. Even though it's cold as hell, and the Finns apparently are very sort of reserved people, it's happening there too. And hopefully they'll fight it off. So anyway, let me know what you think of my of this in the comments, about Katie Hopkins, about what I had to say. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Really helps me grow the channel and continue making content for you.